want this to be a focused visit. So that's why Professor Rourke passed around the sheet there. So you will still develop your HPI, okay? What we want you to do is do your pertinent review systems after you get the HPI, then you'll summarize, okay? So that will help you really develop your story, because if you ask them the remainder of the review systems that you hadn't got to, it should fill in some of the blanks for you. And then you should also ask the other pertinent review systems that you think might be applicable. I'm not going to tell you which one it is. Y'all need to kind of think about what other questions do I think is important. What other system might be involved or that will help you get rid of your, or develop your differentials. I don't think we do.
For example, you were worried the person has, or they have, let's say, galactorrhea. That's their complaint. What other systems might you ask?
A man or a woman?
Say it's a woman. You'd ask gyne, right? But you're not quite there yet. You need to figure out some of the basic questions to ask. When was your last menstrual period? Have your menstrual cycles been regular? Do you have pain, pelvic pain?
And then you might want to ask, dermatology, which haven't on there either, but, any redness around.
What can cause galactorrhea in a man or a woman? So what would you ask about? What other system might you
Vision.
And
Vision.
eyes. So you're going to have to start pulling it all together.
That's now we're towards the end of the line. You guys are getting ready for capstone in December. So in December, we're not going to tell you what system we're in. You won't even know. So you will have to start pulling out what you think is important.
And you'll be able to do it.
Yeah, you'll do it. It's there. It's all up in your brains.
But that's the light bulb will come on. Oh yeah, I should ask about visual changes. I should ask about a headache. I should ask about, there's all kinds of other information that you now know to pull from, questions to ask. So another thing about this note before we go on, this does not mean you get to ignore the chief concern. This textbook just didn't have Dr. Panetta writing the textbook.
So your format will be the same at the top. Your
the same
chief
at the top.
complaint, chief concern, and you start
Primary
moving forward,
motion,
right?
yeah. But as you can see on this note, now your subjective part of your SOAP, you're now pulling all your past medical, family, social, you're pulling it up into this S, pulling it out up into that just one paragraph. What is pertinent to the case?
So for family history, you would ask them pertinent family history. Like, do you have any history of any brain tumors if you suspect a brain tumor? Do you have any family history of
Diabetes.
Right, diabetes, or any thyroid disorders in your family? Do you have any cancers that run in your family? That pertain to the system if you think that's what it could be.
Don't just ask your SP, the entire family history this time. Try to ask specific questions that apply to the case.
So like last one, let's say, for example, musculoskeletal, instead of getting the whole gamut of what surgeries they had, you could ask them, have you had any arthritis that runs in your family, any other musculoskeletal issues, any childhood deformities or genetic mutations in your family, or something like that, but not using this technical term.
And that's where those two review system questions, do you have a family history of diabetes, do you have any growth and development problems, there's those things in the review systems that help pull pull some stuff out of history.
So we can start being more vague and they can start giving us more things. Because I know usually we would ask specific questions like, do you have a bleeding disorder? Does your family have bleeding disorders? Or born with any congenital, it was very specific, but now we can be more vague.
No, now we want you to be more specific. We want you to say, okay, this person's here and I think they might have diabetes. I'm going to ask them specifically if they have a family history of diabetes. I'm going to ask them specifically if they have a family history of any endocrine disorders.
Yeah, you can say that. You can say endocrine disorders, but they may not even know what that means.
But yeah, no, we want you to start.
Honing in on.
We don't want you to say, we don't want you to go in and say, okay, is your maternal grandmother in good health? What does she have? Start right, like we're moving beyond you being a scribe
Or an intake.
to now you're using your clinical reasoning skills because you know what you should be asking. Does that make more sense? So we actually want you to be a little bit more specific on the social, past medical, family, and pull that into what is pertinent to all your subjective information should be wrapped up in one package.
So like, last time for musculoskeletal, so it was really important for your social history to ask them their exercise, and be more specific, like how often do they walk? Do they walk a mile, or, things like that. So think about what might be important for endocrine, things that you think are more specific. I'm sure alcohol, smoking habits, those are all important. What else do you think is really big in endocrine?
What's a big, huge
Diet.
Diet. If you do a nice diet,
nail them down
you're
on
all
it?
fired.
Oh, yeah. So up till now, you'd be like, oh, I eat a healthy, I eat
Yeah.
a healthy diet. So now you need to get a little more, because that's an important piece to endocrine.
Right.
Okay? Objective's still the same on the note. The other change to this is assessment. You still want to do the way we want you to do it, differentials, and then what you really feel the assessment is.
Yeah, so assessment, differential diagnoses, and then your plan.
Even if you are in the room and you know what the diagnosis is, you know what you're going to put under the A part of your SOAP, we still want you to list 3 things that it could be. Even if you were thinking about it in the room, still list it on your note. The only thing that doesn't really make any sense on this note is under plan it has diagnosis, which we really didn't understand what that means. So your plan will still be the same. Counseling, prescriptions, imaging, education, and always a follow-up. Address follow-up. Okay.
For physical exam, this time you will be doing the vitals, since the physical exam is shorter, so you will do the vitals. And then make sure you verbalize it to your SP. Do a focused head, a HENOT exam, so like we said, look in the ears, look in the eyes, look in the nose, look in the mouth. And then the neck, you do a full neck exam. So inspection, palpation of the thyroid and the lymph nodes. It's a much shorter exam.
Then you'll still do focus heart.
Oh yeah, heart and lungs, I'm sorry, yes, heart and lungs.
Always, always, always.
Always. Yeah, just lymph nodes in the neck, no axillary.
But remember, do
One
infra, do
Yeah.
supra and infra.
Yes, I'm sorry, yes, so this whole year we've left off infra. So I want you to do supra and infra. I know, I was like, some of you all have been doing it, so, because it's always like last year, the whole knee and hips were off the musculoskeletal. It had been like that for 2 years. Before I was in on board, it was left off.
Do you check at the mid-clavicular line? Like, where do you check?
Same.
Oh, just,
Supra,
Same,
you just kind of
supra
have a
and then
relax.
infra.
and then just anywhere below?
Yeah, I mean, you can
Okay.
even, I kind of palpate with my thumb,
Yeah.
with my thumb, so. It just hasn't been on your, it hasn't been on your checklist.
Yes.
For the ROS on the note, do you want it now how you, in the HBI, not in a separate, even though it's super like patient denies, blah, 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 patient denies, you want that in the HBI and not a separate section?
It could be either way. I mean, you could do maybe do the pertinence up in the HBI.
And then like the negative, because I've done it separate all year
See,
and haven't had a, like a
Because
negative.
in my
comment
notes, like in
on it.
a SOAP note like that, I would put it all up in the HBI. I'd just say patient complains of blah, 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 and then after that, patient denies, da, 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 da.
Okay.
The only time you're gonna see that long list of review of systems is when your nurse checks them in for you, and she's checked off all the boxes. The patient's already filled it out on the questionnaire, so you're gonna look at it. So,
So Practice Fusion, it was separate too,
so
right?
you need to start finding out what's pertinent and then moving it up into the HPI. Always remember though, and I've seen this in some of your notes, sometimes pertinent negatives are just as important, if not more important, than the positives. So there's something that's negative and that is helping you rule in or out your differentials. They need to now be starting to be moved up into the HPI.
Well, the endocrine, you have to ask all of them.
Yes.
When you say look into the eyes for just the head exam, do you want like full fundoscopy
Oh,
exam
okay,
this time,
that's
or
cool.
just
Okay,
like
so-
pupillary response?
So if you had elicited a complaint, then you might have to do a more thorough exam in one of the body sections. Does that make sense? So if you just do, if you do the basic run through, and then let's say your patient complains of eye issues, then you will have to do more of a thorough eye exam.
So be thinking about what would be your indications for doing a full fundoscopic exam. So start, putting a list in your brain of why would I want to see their fundus?
Like what exams are important in diabetics, or what are important in someone who has a thyroid disorder? What other things should you be looking at or checking? Does that make sense?
Because thyroid touches on a lot of body systems, so, and we don't want you to say, oh, well, if I do part of another body system, I gotta do the whole thing. No, you just do what is gonna help you for their chief complaint.
Trying to think of something like if they were
Actually have to go in and be like a
providing.
real PA. Okay, what else? Anything else on your list?
So you have 35 minutes in the room with a 10-minute warning.
Always.
Always.
10 minutes.
You're in there for 5 minutes, I wanted 10 minutes, I'm just kidding. 20 minutes, you were in there 20 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. So it's 35 total, a 10-minute warning. And then a second beeper will mean you need to get out. Same thing, send your note to your faculty member by Friday by 8, and then along with your EBM. Oh, there's one thing I will say since this case is a little bit different, like musculoskeletal, it was a pain scale, right? So the severity of an illness, it's hard to say it by a number. So you can, but sometimes you cannot. So other ways to describe something, how the severity of it is, how does it impact their daily life? Are they able to still get up and do activities, things like that. So you don't necessarily have to have a number. If you can, because sometimes it's hard to say on a scale from 0 to the,
Let's say I have ringing in the ears. My
Yeah.
chief complaint is ringing in the ears. I have tinnitus.
how do you scale
On a
that?
scale
You
of
can't.
1 to 10, a 10 being the worst tinnitus you've ever had. I can't do that.
So it'd be like, I can't hear things, it rings all the time, especially even when I'm asleep.
It's disrupting your
Right.
I talk on the phone, or I can't hear my.
So that will give you the
husband
severity,
speak.
does that make sense? How severe it is to them. So those are the questions you'll have to kind of help elicit from the SB. Yes?
Are we, so for an ROS that is needing to be asked, if it's a head problem, ask the head questions, do you expect all of them to be asked?
No, so again, it's just whatever you feel is important that you need to ask. So you need to tell
Hopefully the
us,
light bulbs are gonna.
Right.
Yeah.
because if they're,
Sometimes light bulbs don't come in lists.
Right, exactly,
Exactly.
right. And we know that.
right,
And so all these months of pounding lists into your head, now we want you to
you
start.
pull out from those lists
picking
what's
from the
important with their
lists.
complaint.
Yeah.
Are they counting things that you think are important, that we don't think are important?
I'm telling you, the more questions you ask, the better it is for you as an investigator.
Right.
So even if you think they might say no, ask it, just to be sure that it's a no. And again, this is after you've let them tell their story.
So, whenever they start on some of the videos I watch, if you'll ask them, so what brings you in today? And they say, well, my back hurts. So you could say, well,
How long have you,
Yeah.
but a lot of you go to, how long have you had the back pain?
Yeah.
You immediately go to timing.
to
For
close in
onset.
question. Then you should say, can you tell me a little bit more about this? How did this happen?
Right.
you know, then they'll be able to tell their story.
Do that second or third
Right,
open-ended
question,
question, like that.
Then if they don't tell you where it's at, then you can say, okay, can you point to that page, you know, tell me where that's at?
Who has a good second open-ended question in their brain right now that they want to share? Okay.
I usually just say, can you tell me more about that?
Yeah.
That's a good
Whatever the
one. Anybody else find one that they use?
Because a lot of times when they have a chief complaint, you'll say, okay, so you're coming in today for back pain? That's not really, you know, you should say, what brings you in today? That would be more your opening.
What's your favorite second?
I always ask them to describe it to me because
Right,
that
yes.
forces
Can you
them to
describe that a
start
little bit
talking
more?
about the
Right.
situation.
Can you describe that pain instead of, does it radiate down your back? Does it go down to your
Right,
toes, down your
don't-
right leg into your feet? SP hasn't had a chance to answer the first question.
Although sometimes they'll give you like you have to do a straightforward second, because you
Right.
ask what brings you in today, and they talk for this long
Yes.
about.
Right, and then you, right.
Then you have to reel it in.
Another good one is, have you
Drive the
had
bus.
this before?
Uh-huh.
Have
you had symptoms
Because then
like
they
this
might
before?
start talking a little bit more in detail.
Right.
So just think about, once you try to do that second, or even sometimes that, you can't get them with the second, have a third one ready to see if you can get them to talk.
Yeah, and if they can't, then
If they
you
can't,
might
then
have
you
to-
start
Right.
going.
Then you start your more direct questions. Or if you don't have all the information you need that they've given you.
One mistake I've seen a lot in the notes that I've graded in the last 2 SPBLs is in watching the videos, not so much the notes, but watching the videos, you guys are, some of you are summarizing in the wrong place. So do your HPI, let them talk, ask a few direct questions, hit your pertinent things you're
Review
thinking
systems.
of that's pertinent to the case of your direct review of system questions, then summarize. There's a few, 1 or 2 that are summarizing after they've taken the entire subjective, past medical, family, all of it, and then summarizing way too late. You want to summarize right after you've been getting that narrative from the patient.
You don't want to miss part of the story. Maybe, you know, if you summarize it, it'll tell the patient some things that they have forgotten.
And
But
you
you
don't,
missed.
and again, you can summarize again later if you want, but don't summarize every part of the family history, past medical history, medications. And you don't necessarily have to summarize after you do your extra review of systems. Like
Right.
if you decide you want to do more of them, you don't have to summarize all that again.
Okay. And then at the end of your visit this time around, we want you guys to kind of, because we know you guys already know what you think it is at the end of that. So before you leave this time, we want you to give the SP an idea of what you think this is. So, you know, this is what I'm thinking it may be in real life, and then I'm gonna order some labs, or, you know, I may start you on this, that kind of stuff, just so you can really end it and wrap up the visit. You know, like in real.
No, there's no more
I'm gonna
now,
talk to my
I'm gonna go
attending.
talk to my attendant.
We want you all to
And
give them.
the SP should ask you directly, what do you think this is? You guys need to be ready to answer them
Right.
with something. Even if it's, you know, I don't know, but I know I'm gonna do this test, which will help us get an idea about what's going on. Even if some BS,
I noticed that on the last one,
Answer,
and
it's
I felt like
okay.
I sat there and I was like, wait, am I supposed to actually say?
You
She's like, what do you
can.
think it is? I was like,
you can.
say something,
I
or?
want you to, yeah, they want, and that, you need practice at that, because you're gonna get that in rotation, so. And that'll be assessed in capstone, you're gonna have to,
You'll have to do it then.
we're all wrapped up in one visit.
And your treatment at the same time. Right after you leave out that room.
I think it's like one of the doors. It was all during the establishment.
Anyways, so the SPs have been instructed to directly ask you at the end of the visit what it is, so y'all need to be ready to answer. I think all these SPs will do.
Yes.
Did you handpick your
They might. Hard to say.
Did you handpick your recipes?
We did good.
No, we don't have any, we just, who's available. That happens to be the ones that are here. Questions? Number, professional tire, jacket, stethoscope.